It was a few degrees cooler yesterday, thank the Lord, and so I began to work on this small bed here that I'm going to use for my bunching onions. I got them spread out all over in grow bags, and I just thought they all needed a designated place. Of course, this is not completely broken down. This is compost, but I'll be putting some potting soil on top of this, and I have some that I'm just going to dump out of grow bags that I'm not going to be using again for what's in them. So I'm going to put them in here. And sweet potatoes over there, I can't remember exactly when I planted them, but I'm almost sure it's getting close, very close to time to harvest them. I thought I'd wait till about the last of August, first week of September maybe, to harvest them. And as you can see, we're already far enough into the year that these plants here are getting very little sun now. I'm gonna go ahead and take that okra out over there because it's just quit blooming. It doesn't do anything anymore. It's just sitting there. And take it out and start working on that bed. And the peppers are still going strong, so I'll probably leave them in there for a while. I'm gonna make some cowboy candy, and I'll be pretty much through with the peppers. I've already made hot sauce or pepper sauce. Now I want to let some turn red so I can make some hot sauce. And I'll tell you what, some of these peppers are very hot. And when they turn red, they're going to be even hotter. And the weirdest thing are happening to some of them. They'll bloom, and the bloom molds on the end of the pepper, and the pepper eventually falls off. It don't happen to all the peppers on there. And that one's loaded with tiny peppers and blossoms. Oh, isn't this lovely? It finally bloomed. And I can see on this camera that looks purple. But it's not. It's a dark fuchsia. Dark pink. But it definitely looks purple on this camera, on this side of the camera. Well, I'm not going to go on and on. Y'all have seen all this. And I will never, ever plant this marigold again. I've never had one get that big. That marigold's over 5 foot tall. If I lift it up where you can see it, it's all fallen over, and I've just left it. I've got clover planted in that bed right there. I just seeded it in there to keep the bed from being empty, and the heat and sun and everything from killing off my good soil there. I'll just turn, that bed's going to be flipped over anyway. And when it's flipped over, that will all be on the bottom, and it'll just be, break down and be good green manure. I thought that bed was smaller than those, but it's really not. It's $20 cheaper. It might be an inch or two smaller. Not that much smaller. Anyway, I'm not going to go on in that. These potatoes have been in here I'm just amazed that this 100-degree temperature hasn't killed them. I really am. And if they make any potatoes, we're gonna consume them. We're gonna eat them. And these pumpkins, as you can see, winter squash, whatever you want to call them, I believe these are the Cherokee tans, because they look more like the Cherokee tans to me than they do the Seminoles. They look so much alike, but my Seminoles usually get bigger than that. That's a decent size. That'll make a pie, that'll make bread, anything, soup, anything you want to do with it. Plus they keep for a long time. That's the reason I like growing these Machada types, because they are long keepers. I've had Machadas that I've kept for a year or more, and they were still good. Chickens are all feeling good this morning. They're having a time out there, running and playing like kids. These vines all have mildew, but the good thing with these kinds, Denny says, you might not can grow watermelons too good, but you can flat sure grow some pumpkins. The good thing with these vines, or they put down roots everywhere. So if the vine borers are getting to them and close to the where you planted them in the ground, or they get powdery mildew, the others, the rest of the vine will outgrow it, and it just keeps going and going and going. 3 plants. This is 3 plants. Planted one over here, one over there, and one way over there. And no one of them was in the raised bed. And it went crazy. I've lost count of the pumpkins. I was trying to keep up with how many there were. I gave one to the chickens a few days ago that was, something had bored a hole into it, and I knew it wouldn't keep. And it would probably be rotten before I could even harvest it. So I just got my son Danny throw it over, break it apart and throw it over into the chicken yard, and they ate it. And pumpkins, I've always heard it was good for chickens. There's another one of those. See, that looks like a Cherokee tan, because the strain of Seminoles I got are like David the Goods. They get bigger than your normal Seminole. They still have the taste and the keeping and the vine power, the vine resistance and everything to disease that the smaller ones do. They just get much bigger. This is tissuary vines here, and all of them that have grown into the chicken yard, as you can see, they fix that. Look here. That. Wait a minute, let me find it on the camera. That is a potato. Hold on. That is a potato. I really don't know how they got here, unless it's some I threw out. Little bitty ones I threw out when I was digging them. That's the only thing I can think of. That's the only way I know of they could have got here. I don't remember planting any here. It won't be too long before I can harvest these. Most of them have some tan color on them, but their stems are still quite green, and you want those stems to be just as dry as you can get them before you harvest them. And this, I believe, is a cantaloupe that decided to grow way after I had just stopped fooling with this over here and pulled out the one pumpkin vine that was over here. It had one pumpkin on it. It was I believe it was the I won't never think of the name of it now. It was a Machado, but it wasn't a Cherokee tan or a Seminole. Oh my goodness, don't you look at that cayenne plant. It's just loaded down with peppers. Wrong. Look at that. Look at the peppers on there. I want them to turn red, because that's what I want to make my hot sauce out of. That and the Big Jim Hots. Okay. That's going to pretty much wrap it up. Those volunteer potatoes that come up in that bed there, they look pitiful. I'll be surprised if there's anything under there to eat off from them, but if the good Lord is put some down there, we'll certainly eat them. Even though it's been so hot and so dry, and I was having to water all this every day to keep it alive, I thank God for everything out here. I thank God most of all for Jesus, because He's the keys to the kingdom. And I can't hardly wait. This world's gotten so wicked and so sinful, it's just sickening to see some of the things you see. Young people would say it's because you're old. You grew up in a different era. Yeah, I grew up in an era where there was more morality than there is now. People tried to keep their bodies covered instead of exposing so much of it. And you didn't see women running around all over the place with tattoos on their face, arms, chest, and legs, and wearing as little clothes as possible so everybody could see those tattoos. Yeah, call me an old fogey. I don't care. I really don't care. I'm still of that mindset. I'll be of that mindset. And when most people get born again, they go to that mindset. That stuff that didn't used to bother them begins to bother them. Like, I'm showing too much skin wearing this, and I'm causing men or women, or whatever the case, to lust after me. And I want to be guilty of that sin. So I'll put on more clothes, or clothes that covers more skin. Look at that. That looks a dirty pink on this camera. But it's actually a beautiful bright pink. Not the best camera on this old phone. God bless. I hope everybody's having a great week. And if you haven't spoken to the Lord today, read a scripture, heard some good preaching, something to exalt the Lord in your heart, mind, and soul, I would recommend it highly. God bless.